Hi, it's Reasonable Reviewer, and I want to review today of this Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood game. It is put out by, wait, I just saw it on here, by Buffalo Games. Brand new, just brand new out. And it's saying that this is for 2 to 5 players, ages 10 and up. I actually think that with a parent or a guardian or a grandpa, grandma, you could play this game with much younger kids, probably all the way down to 6 years old, I'm going to guess. So it comes. Ours was a little scuffed up when we got it, but that's okay. So it comes with these things, a nice thank you note for buying it, and instructions. Now, how does this game work? All right, it's going to take a little bit of explanation. So everybody initially in their hand is going to have a stop card. And then the main part of the deck are these number cards. The main part of the deck are these number cards. From Mr. Rogers to Mr. McFeely to Lady Aberlin, all the way up to, in the number cards, Harriet Elizabeth Cow. Okay, so the cards are shuffled, and it has a table right here in the game that shows you which cards are going to be included in the deck. So you shuffle it up. Everybody gets a stop card. Those are there. That is automatically always in your hand. All right. Trolley car starts off on this little play helper. The rest of whichever cards are allowed in, depending on the number of players, the rest of the cards are shuffled out and everybody gets 5 cards. If it's only a 2-person game, then everybody gets 6 cards. And what will happen on your turn is you'll fan out your cards. Well, actually, when it's the opponent's turn, you fan out the cards in front of you with the backs towards the person, and then they draw a card. And they start putting these cards down in front of them. And the deal is that they can draw as many cards as they want. So that's player decision. As many as they want. But, and if they voluntarily stop, then depending on you can always place up to n-2, so but it has a card here, so if your little 6-year-old couldn't do algebra, so if you draw 1 card or 2 cards, you can't place any cards down in front of you. If you do 3, then 1, 4, 2, etc. Now, what are you trying to do? Your objective is to get to get sets of 3. And that's how you win the game, actually. You win the game, depending on the number of players, is the number of sets you need. So if you've got 2 players, you need 5 sets, 3 players, 4 sets, and if you have 4 or 5 players, only 3 sets. But if you keep drawing, so you might say, well, why don't I just keep drawing? Because if you draw a stop card, then you got to pick all those cards up and they go in your hand. The other thing is that now everybody knows what you have in your hand because they just saw you put it out in front of you. And if they need a particular card, they're going to come to you for it. Now, specialty cards. If you draw a Mr. Rogers card, you're allowed to play it just like a normal card, but you have to tell something special about yourself. All right? And I'm going to read directly what the other special cards do. So it takes a little bit to get used to because you got to figure out what the special cards do. They're all in the rules right here, right? All right, so Daniel's Striped Tiger card, if you pull that card out, he's shy and hesitant to draw the wrong card and make a mistake. If you've drawn a Daniel Tiger card from player, then you get to help him pick the right card. Now pick any player and you get to look at their hand. So they got to turn it face up, and then you get to choose 1 character card, not an action card. These are all called action cards. And so you basically get to pick, and then this goes in the discard pile. Well, I'm sorry, no, it doesn't go in the discard pile. It goes back into your hand. So now somebody else can potentially draw that card. The King Friday card, when you draw from a player, you may address any player of your choice and then ask them for a specific character card. You say, hey, like, do you have this? If you're correct, then the player responds, correct as usual, King Friday, and the player must give the card next in line, so they hand it out to you. If you're not correct, then the chosen player does not have that, then your turn ends immediately, and then you have to pick up all the cards just like you got a stop card. And then the only other card, the trolley card, starts out during the board. Trolley card, when one or both of the following conditions are met, the trolley card comes into play. A player places a character card in their neighborhood, and that character already exists in another player's neighborhood. So if somebody has, let's say they've got a Mr. Rogers card out, and you put a Mr. Rogers card down then, so you can put the trolley card out for that. Or a player starts their third set of character cards. Why is that? Because that gets to be an end strategy. The player who triggers it takes the trolley card and puts it in their hand, so it's now part of their deck. If you've drawn a trolley card from a player's hand, you place it with the other draw cards next to the game board. Then you may choose one card from any player's neighborhood and place that card in the other cards drawn. So it allows you to select a card from somebody else. What does that do? It could potentially have you ruin a set. It could help you get your final set to win, etc. So obviously these things are interactive, right? There's synergy. So if somebody just got stopped, and then you drew a King Friday card, then you know that they have certain cards in their hand, as an example of. All right, so overall, what's the rating? Well, it's actually a little complex. I think that I'm going to make up I haven't played this with my gaming group, Truth in Lending, yet. I'm going to have to make up some player aids so everybody remembers what all the special cards do. I like the mechanic that you can draw as many times as you want, but there's potentially a penalty, which is that stop card. Obviously, if somebody has a ton of cards in their hand, the chance of drawing it is less. I can tell already with my very highly competitive gaming group that people are going to do all kinds of things in terms of hiding cards and trying to convince people to draw their own card, etc. I can see that happening. I guess for the target audience, I don't see this much in the college and beyond crowd, unless it's parents playing with kids or grandkids playing with kids. And for the kids, and I'm just going to be honest, and this will probably be a very unpopular opinion, but I'm going to be perfectly honest. Yeah, I know who Mr. Rogers is, and I know that there was a Tom Hanks movie that just recently came out, but I bet you that most kids 12 years old and under have no idea who Mr. Rogers is. So I think that their thought was that there was this cachet and kind of nostalgia associated with it. I think it's lost. It's going to be lost on the target audience. I really, truly believe that. So, good on them. I give it 4 stars just because I think it's a nifty idea. I like some of the mechanics. I think there's a smidgen of quality control issues because they got some ripped and torn up stuff. And I think it's a little complicated for the target audience. But all in all, I want to really support independent game designers. So 4 stars.